Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next speaker on stage, Vrijraj Singh, Google developer expert for Firebase.
Yeah. Ayu Bhavan, Omalata Kayu, how to say, I don't know. How are you all? So, hi everyone, my name is Vrijraj. I'm from India. I'm a Google developer expert for Firebase and web technologies. I'm working as a CTO at Acprop, and also I'm a mentor for the Google for Startups. So here, I'm going to talk about like how we can build super fast web solutions. So I'm working on a multiple technologies like Chrome, Firebase, Google Cloud Platform. I'm running a community name is Tech Ferment. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with me over the Twitter as Vrijraj. So yeah, so this is my second time in Sri Lanka, and this is really amazing time. And this time I face these challenges in my hotel. When I trying to check in my hotel, I face these issues. Does anyone have faced any this kind of problems in your system? Okay, cool. So before we begin, I would like to ask few questions. So how many of you are working on the web platform? Anyone? Okay. So in this talk, I'm going to talk about 4 things. I'll cover the state of the web ecosystem in Sri Lanka, and then I'll talk about the web fundamentals, and then we'll talk about how we can create more fast, responsive web solutions. And I'll show you the best practices for making more scalable performant solutions. So talking about Sri Lanka, here we have around 12 million monthly active internet users are using internet over 32 million smartphone devices. So here you have opportunities. You can build the solutions. It can be a mobile applications or it can be a web applications. You can create an e-commerce platform or you can create a mobile applications to solve the problems. So talking about specifically for the web solutions, so web has a 3 core fundamentals like website. With the help of website, we can create a web page. We can create a website with the help of HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript part. And then we have a browsers where we can test our website. And the third one is the server, where we can serve the pages, like where I can upload our HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript code into the server part, and then you will be able to see the website. So this is a basic core fundamentals, like if I talk about the web platform. So we have a website, browser, and the server. So website is more about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Browser is more about visualizing the HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript code. So in the browser side, here we have a multiple rendering engine that will render your HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript code into the UI part. Server is more about where we can upload our HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript code, and then we can serve the pages over the computer or the client side. So talking about the web, like how we can work on the web platform. So there are certain ways, like either you can be a front-end developer, you just need to focus on the UI part. Like I have a design, I need to create a design element with the help of HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript part. So this is the basic things, like we can work on the HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript, or we can use the framework or the library called Angular, React, or Vue. The next one part is more about the backend, is more about where we need to work on the server part, where we need to work on the database, creating a REST APIs, making backend business logic. So this is more about the backend, and full stack is more about, you have a knowledge about front end and the backend technologies. So with the help of this knowledge, you can make more amount of money, right? This is the main goal. If I talk about myself, or can be considered as your goal to enjoy the good life. Right. So now I'll show you the best thing. Like whenever we create a website, we as a developer, or maybe if I talk about as a consumer point of view, so there are few expectations from the developer point of view or the consumer point of view. So when we open a website, So there will be a few content, like there will be a header, navigation bar, there will be some content, there will be some actions button. But if I talk about as a developer perspective, so there will be a lot of floating menu button, dynamic banner, card carousels, ads, sticky footer. There are multiple things. So this will create a bad experience if I talk about the user point of view. So if it takes more than 3 seconds, 53% user will leave the website. And this is really bad things for the developer perspective. And for that, we need to work on the optimizations part. We need to work on the JavaScript, CSS, and other things to optimize the code. And this is a kind of journey we as a developer face. Like first, we need to create a solutions, and then we need to make it more optimized solutions, right? So now I'll talk about how we can make it more, fast way. So here we have it, 3 terms is called as the loading, interactivity, and the visual stabilities. So let's say I have a website, how much time it will take to, get the first load. The second one is more about the interactivity. Let's say I'll click on the button, so I'll get the acknowledgement or the feedback. Visual stability in terms of like I get the content over the web page, and that's it. There is no like dynamic content over the website. Like suddenly there will be a footer or maybe the navigation bar and all. So this is the main 3 terms is called as core web vitals, like loading, interactivity, and the visual stabilities. And why the core web vital is concept is much more important. So here the Google has provided this kind of measurement as a statistic. Like you need to focus on the 3 terms like core, largest contentful paint, interactions to the next paint, cumulative layout shift. So if you go to the Google, you will find a lot of result over the website, right? So but after 2022, Google has published an article that the search ranking will be considered over the core web vital scores. Like if you are good in the digital marketing SEO part, you also need to focus on the core web vital scores about the scores of your website. So core web vitals, the first term is called as LCP, the largest contentful paint. It's more about how much time it will take to load your website, the largest content. So if I talk about the matrices, so if it takes, let's say, less than 2.5 seconds, the website is very good. If it takes more than 4 seconds, that means you need to focus on the improvement part, the optimizations part. The interactivity is more about, let's say I click on the button, and then we need to show some acknowledgement or as a feedback. So here we have like best practices. If I talk about when I click on the button over the website or the web pages, we need to show some acknowledgement. Like I'll click on the button, there will be a loader, or maybe there will be a disable button. So the best practice is about 200 milliseconds. If it takes more than 500 milliseconds, that means you need to work on the interactivity part. The third one is more about the CLS, the visibilities. Like there will be a sudden navigation change, the content appear. So you can do that within a 0.1 millisecond. So this is the 3 main core web vital scores. And how we can measure the core web vital scores? So there are n number of tools are available over the Google. So you can go to the Google Page Speed tools, and then you can find the result for LCP, FID, and CLS. Or you can go to the Google Chrome UX report, or you can go to the Google Search Console, where you can get the report for the core web vitals, or the Chrome Web Dev tools. There are multiple tools that you can use and explore the result for the Chrome Web Vitals. So this is an example for Google Search Console. If you go to the Google Search Console, let's say I have a website. I need to show my website on the Google search results. So what I need to do, I need to register my website on the Google Search Console so that Google get to know about that this is a website is here, and we can show this particular website over the Google search result. So inside Google Search Console, you can get the core web vitals scores for the mobile perspective as well as for the desktop perspective. So how we can improve the performance, like in terms of CLS, the score related to the largest content from field and all. So the first thing about the LCP, so first thing, we need to reduce the server time. And then we need to work on the image optimizations part. Like there are n number of formats like JPG, PNG, GIF. There are n number of formats. But if I talk about the best practices, try to use WebP format for serving images over the web platform. Try to eliminate the render blocking resources. Like there will be multiple loops, so you can reduce that particular loops efficiency part. And the second one is more about the interactions. Like you can work on the JavaScript part. So whenever we click on that particular button, we can call some APIs. So inside that, calling that particular APIs, we can work on the optimizations part, the best practices, how we can write the best code for the JavaScript part. You can remove the third-party code. Like let's say I'm creating a website where I'm using jQuery. So inside jQuery, there will be a multiple functionality, but I'm using 3 or 4 functions. So I can reduce or I can remove those code, and then I can load that particular code into my website. The third one is more about the CLS, is more about shifting the layout. So here you can define a fixed height and width for your div element, where you can show some ads, banner, or maybe div element content, anything. If you are using multiple fonts in your website, so you can use the property name as font type display swaps. So I'll give you an example. So let's say I'll open a website. So this is a simple website. Here we have a header and the content, and suddenly there will be a banner. So this is a bad experience. The CLS score is really bad. And then there will be another ads or maybe content and banner. So how we can improve this particular user experience? So how we can define, there will be a fixed header, the height and width we can define so that user get to know about, yeah, here we have a content, here we have an actions button. You don't need to go to the different positions. So the CLS score is very bad, good. If I talk about load the banner, the ads, and you can improve the CLS. And talking about the overlays, do not pass the overlays directly. So there will be, you can define some actions button where you can show that overlays. And talking about the dynamic content injections, so here, let's say I'll click on that particular button in a website. I'll get blank screen, and then I'll get the content. This is not a good terms in terms of CLS point of view. So what you can do, you can provide some acknowledgement. So let's say I'll click on the button. So you can disable the button, or maybe you can show the loader bar. Yes, something is coming. And then you can provide the content. So this is how you can improve the best practices, follow the best practices to improve the performance, the CLS score, and all. You can also disable the buttons. So let's say when I click on that particular button, I can disable the button so that user cannot click on multiple times. So this is how you can improve the FID part. And the key takeaway is more about do not insert the content, inject the content dynamically. Just define the fixed height and width of your div element, means the header, footer, or ads. Give the instant feedback, like whenever I'm calling some APIs, or maybe I'm calling some, click on that particular button. So I need to share the instant feedback. Yes, there is something is coming on. The third one is more about the visualizations, like we need to disable the button whenever the user is click on that particular button. So is there any ways to improve the performance? So here we have a concept of the AMP, the accelerated mobile pages. So this is a web component library designed by the Google itself. So with the help of AMP, you can serve the web pages very fast way. So you have seen in your day-to-day life, like whenever you go to the Google, you'll search something, you'll find the result, and you can navigate to the website. So these all things are working on the AMP concept. And with the help of AMP, you can create a website, you can create a stories, or you can create ads, or you can create emails. So I'll talk about the website part. So with the help of AMP, you can create a website. You just need to focus on the component part. AMP have a predefined components, the HTML tags, AMP tags that you can use directly. So this is a simple example. Here we have a regular page, and we have an AMP enable page. So if you open a website, if you have an AMP enable page, your website will be 10x faster than as compared to the regular pages. And talking about the stories, stories is more about Instagram type of stories we can create. But if I talk about Instagram or maybe WhatsApp, these all are the application dependent. Like if I want to watch some XYZ person Instagram story, I need to install Instagram applications. But talking about web story, we just need a browser, and we can open the link and we can see the browser. So this is the concept, like this is how in Android devices, like in the Google Discover sections, like there are multiple publishers, marketers, they are using the concept of stories. They are providing us stories, interactive, rich element. You can design, you can animate, you can do multiple things over the stories part. And there are n number of third-party publishers, the marketers, companies, who are using the concept of the web stories to serve the content to the users. And the third one part is AMP email. You can create interactive emails, dynamic emails with the help of AMPs. So if you go to the Google Docs, you will you will see this kind of experience. Like when we got a mail, inside mail, there will be some button. When I click on that particular button, I can navigate to the different pages, the different window, or maybe different tab. But what I can do, inside that particular email, I can interact. I can check types of room. I can book the room. I can send the rating. I can do multiple actions within that particular mail. So this is how OYO company, who is using the concept of AMP email. And there is another example for the Google Docs. If you're working on a Google Docs, there will be a collaborations part. Like within a mail, you can share the file, you can add some content, you can pass some comments. This is happening just because of the Google AMP email concept. The fourth one is more about AMP ads. So with the help of AMP ads, you can provide interactive, very fast analytical ads with the help of you can do. So this is a simple example. Here we have added like ads with the help of AMP. These ads are very fast. You can get the analytics reports. You can customize the experience for the ads. Like you can provide some HTML buttons, CSS, animations. You can do multiple things. And talking about like how we can work on the AMP concept. So AMP has three core fundamentals. The first one is AMP HTML. So these are the modified HTML version of HTML code. Like if you are using image tag in HTML, but if I'm using AMP, so here we have AMP-image tag. If I'm working on video part, so in regular HTML, we need to use a video tag. But if I'm using video, so here we need to use AMP-video tag. So there are n number of tags are available. The components are available. We just need to use those components. The AMP.js is responsible for running your JavaScript code, means the modified version of your HTML tags. The caches, AMP caches is responsible for speed up your pages. So these are the three main components. So how we can create an AMP website, like how we can make more faster version of your website. So there are two terms. The first step is we need to add AMP attribute. Another one is we need to load the JavaScript library for the AMP. So this is a simple example. Here we have a HTML. Here I have added AMP attribute in the HTML sections. You just load the JavaScript library for the AMP, and that's it. This page is 10x faster than the regular page. You can pass some content in terms of HTML tags. So if you go to the AMP documentations, so there are n number of HTML tags are available. You can pass the tags, and then you can define the UI. So this is a simple example. If I'm working on a standard HTML part, so we need to use image tag. But if I'm working on the AMP part, so here we have AMP-image tag. So inside this particular tags, I can pass attributes like SRC. You can define the height, width, layout in terms of responsive, and then you can serve the content to the web platform. So to know more about like AMP concept, you can check out the link amp.dev. You can find a lot of information about the AMP platform, how we can create super fast web experience, or maybe you can create a emails, ads, or stories with the help of AMP platform. So now I'll talk about the best practices, like how we can make it more fast applications or web experience. The first one part is more about the images, like whenever you go to the Amazon or maybe any website, there will be a multiple images. So what are the best practices what we can do? So do not use JPEG, PNG, SVG. Rather than you can use WebP, which is a format, or AVI format for serving of images to the web platform. You can reduce the size of the images. Do not use the actual size of the images to the web platform. Just reduce. And for reducing the size of the images, you can use Goose. It's a tool designed by the Google itself. You can reduce the size of images very, very less size without losing to your quality. And you can lazy load the content. You can define the lazy loading concept, like I have a div element. When I go to the scroll down, so I can show the element that particular scroll actions. So you can define the lazy loading. And there is another section is for SRC set. It's more about different sides of screen you can define. And do not use GIF file, because GIF is more extensive as compared to the video file. So you can use MP4 files for showing the videos, and then you can use video tag. Another part is more about the code uses, like how many of you are working on Angular, React, Vue.js, right? Or any libraries like Tailwind CSS, Bootstrap, great. So whenever we are using the concept of frameworks, frameworks give me the functionalities. There are n number of functions that we can use in our applications, right? So, but let's say I'm using Bootstrap, and inside Bootstrap there are thousands of functions, and I'm loading that thousands of functions in my applications. But I'm using 2 of the functions out of the 1,000 functions. So there are 980 functions which are unused, or maybe CSS code. So you can use the maximize the the use cases. Like if you're using Angular, try to use the Angular functionalities rather than writing a JavaScript code. If you are using UI component library, try to maximize to use the core concept of the framework or UI component libraries rather than writing your own CSS code or maybe the JavaScript code. Because there will be an n number of lines of unused part of your JavaScript or CSS code. So you can check the unused part of the CSS and the JavaScript code. You just go to the Chrome Developer Tools and just go to the sources and the coverage section, and then you can see the unused part. Like if you go to this particular images, so there are 50% code are unused. There are 58% code are unused. So you can remove that unused code, because we need to load that particular code over the browsers, and inside browser we have a rendering engine that will render your code into the HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript part. So this is the best thing. Like as a senior developer point of view, I'll recommend you to work on the code uses part. Try to understand the framework, functionalities, the libraries. Try to utilize those libraries rather than writing your own JavaScript or CSS code for designing or maybe creating a custom logic. So yeah, so for checking performance or speed of your website, there are multiple tools. Like you can use Lighthouse, you can use Test My Website, Google Page Speed Insight tool, Web Page Tools. There are n number of tools are available that they will give you the score in terms of CLS, LCP, and FID part, or you can get the informations in terms of SEO point of view. Or if you're using Google Chrome browser, so inside the Chrome Developer Tools, you can get the Lighthouse, and you can get the report about your applications and the website part. So talking about the resources, I'll recommend you to go with the website like web.dev. This is one of the best website where you can get the resources. If you're working on a web platform, or if you're working on a framework, or maybe CSS, or the JavaScript, or PHP, anything related to the web browsers. So you just go to the web.dev link, and then you can get the resources. For the vital related informations, you can go to the link web.dev/vitals for the core web vitals. Talking about the AMP, the accelerated mobile pages, you just need to go to the link amp.dev, and you can select the platform. Let's say I wanted to create a website, or I wanted to create a web stories, or emails, or ads. And there are n number of Google Developer Code Labs that you can use for exploring practical experience. And there is one more code labs I have created, the greatest.vrijraj.xyz. So if you go to the link greatest.vrijraj.xyz, I have designed multiple code labs where how we can speed up our web page, how we can use the concept of Gemini for making more fast performant solutions. So there are n number of code labs you can check. You can follow the code labs, and you can make the content. It's very fast. And I guess you have enjoyed the sessions. And I hope you learn something and try to work on the AMP and like core web vital part. And yeah, that's all from my end. And yeah, I'm available on social media platform. Feel free to connect with me. I'm a traveler, I'm a CEO, I'm a happy engineer, I'm from India, and that's it. So thank you so much. You can also connect with me on my website, vrijraj.xyz. I'm happy to help you in terms of if you're working on LLM, AI, Google Chrome, Google Cloud Platform. So feel free to connect with me. I'm also a mentor for the Google for Startups. So if you are running a startups, if you want to need some help in terms of how we can make scalable solutions, how to make fast, or maybe how we can connect with the multiple users in terms of the best practices, feel free to connect with me. I'm happy to help you. And yeah, it's time for the questions. Like if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me. I'm here only. And yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, GDG Sri Lanka team, for having me. And that's all.
Thank you, Vrijraj, for that amazing session. And we value your presence here with Google I/O Extended Sri Lanka 2024. To show us our gratitude, we have prepared a small token of appreciation. And to present you with that token, I now invite over to the stage Ms. Dilanka Pereira, GDG organizer here in Sri Lanka and WTM ambassador.